So now that I've explained for you all of the different categories of costs, I want to do a question so that we can sort costs into product costs and period costs, as well as distinguish in particular which type of cost each is. So in order to do that, I want to do one of my questions with you. So I think you know the drill by now. Just bear with while I set up sharing my screen. Here we have it. So I've tried to make a slightly shorter question than the ones in the textbooks, because I am being realistic in terms of the time that you would have in order to complete a question such as this in a test. So what is this question asking for? Let's get down straight away to the required. Fill in the table, and we must be using, this is something very important, monthly cost figures. So I don't want anybody making careless, silly little mistakes here. Be aware of whether the cost is given weekly, monthly, or annually. So here they must all be in terms of month. It says that there are 4 weeks in a month. I'm looking there at the assumptions, and also we are ignoring VAT. What you would have known that anyway, because I just said in the recording that all calculations must be done exclusive of any kinds of tax, such as VAT. It is a business that is buying scrap paper, and it's doing good for the environment because it's taking the scrap paper and it's recycling it into paper that is going to be used to make a gift bag. We all like a nice little prezi, don't we? So let's have an environment-friendly one while we add it. Okay. So the conversion rate goes from 1 kg scrap into 1 kg recycled. We always start a question by finding the important details. So this is a factory. So obviously we can sort into product and period cost. As I said, it's gift bags. Now, everybody, please, too many careless mistakes when you calculate the output. Take note of the number of machines that there are. There are 3 machines, not 1. Okay. These machines are not operating at full capacity. They are only operating at 95% capacity. That's important because it affects our total output. So we're going to have to work out how much that is. So we'll obviously have to go via the 100% capacity and adjust that. So at 100% capacity, each machine, yes, that's important, each machine, because remember there are 3, can produce 20,000 kgs, and important, per month. So every little important piece of information is relevant. Right, so now we are going to decide whether something is a product cost, and how do we know if it's that? Can either be a direct material, direct labor, or a factory overhead. Just a reminder again about the components of the factory overheads. I'll just try and put them in here. Indirect material, indirect labor, and lastly, a manufacturing overhead. So first one, remember the product that we are making. It's gift bags that are made from paper. So the scrap paper that we buy, what are we going to do with that? Use it to make the final product. Okay. And it tells us it costs R2 per kg. So my big suggestion to you all here, before you even start, is you work out the total amount of the product that is going to be produced, because that is going to be used in the calculation of any kind of a variable cost. So we don't know how much the scrap paper is going to cost us unless we know how many kgs we need to buy. And how are we going to do that? We need to know how many kgs get processed. So let's begin by doing that calculation. We're going to do that one first. So we're going to say that our total monthly output is equal to what? Right, 20,000 kgs. We got to convert that to 95% capacity. So times 0.95, and most importantly, times the 3 machines. Don't want to go wrong at the beginning. So that will give us a total of 57,000 kgs. That's now going to make our life ever so much easier. So how much is the scrap paper going to cost us? Right. So first of all, we're needing to tick the column. So this one is going to be a direct material. And what amount is it going to be? Here is the working. So the 20,000 kgs times the 95% times the 3 rand gave us the 57,000 tons. Then we're going to multiply it by 2 rand, and that will give us a cost for direct materials of 114,000 rand. Right, next one. The wages of the people operating the machines. So first of all, where are we going to put it? These are people involved in the production of the gift bag. So therefore, that will be direct labor, because the production takes place in the factory and they are operating the machines that do what? Make the product. So that's going to be where we will put it and how much. So first of all, there's 800 rand per week. So the first thing we would do is change that into per month by multiplying by 4. And it also says that, remember that there are the 3 machines. So we mustn't forget that. Right, let's just read the question again carefully. It's 800 per week. That is just a flat amount. And there are how many people operating the machines at any time? 12. So change the weekly amount to monthly by timesing 4 weeks. And then we're going to multiply by 12 because there are 12 operators. So here is my working for that. So the total wage bill is the 38,400. And of course, it's direct labor. Number 3, the monthly salary of the factory supervisor. So notice here that the supervisor is where? In the factory, but not operating the machines. So that's an example of indirect labor, which means that we are a factory overhead. So it is a product cost and a factory overhead. No calculation needed here because the amount is already given monthly. So let's see where we're going to put that. 14,000 rand under factory overhead. Next up, like I was saying before, depreciation, but be careful of what the depreciation is. So it's on the machine. And then if it's on the machine is in the factory. So that tells me straight away I'm factory expense. So I'm going to be in the manufacturing overheads. Then it says per machine. Mustn't forget I've got 3 machines. And also, careful, it says per annum. My costing must be done per month. So in fact, there's 2 things we need to do here. Step number 1 is to change the annual depreciation to monthly by dividing by 12. And then don't forget to multiply by the 3 machines. All right, so here we go. 154,000 divided by 12 gets me per month times the 3 machines, total 38,500. Then the next one is indirect materials. So I know straight away indirect materials is a manufacturing overhead. So it's going to go here. Then we need to calculate the amount. Easy peasy now, because we've done the hard yards at the top. It's R1.20 per kg of paper. So how many kgs have we got over here? See there? 57,000 kgs. So it will be 57,000 kgs times R1.20, and that's going to go in the factory overhead column, like this. So that total amount will be 68,400. Okay, next up, the monthly insurance premium is 800 Rand. Now, there's a further breakdown of this. Remember I said some costs can be split and others you will not split. Okay. So that 800 Rand consists of 500 Rand for the factory. So then there'll be another 300 Rand. And if it's not for the factory, it's clearly then for the office. So this one, it does require us to split the insurance. Reason is we need to sort into product cost and period cost. So let's start first of all. The 500 Rand for the factory is going to go over here. It's a manufacturing overhead. But the other 300 is going to be for the office. So therefore, it's going to be a period cost and an admin cost. So it will go there. Let me show you. Here's the 300 Rand for the office under admin cost. And here is the other 500 for the factory under factory overheads. Then last one, railage and carriage on sales. It's a flat rate, so we don't need to do any calculation here. And it's on sales, so this is to get the product to the customer. Therefore, it's going to be a marketing, distribution, or selling cost, which forms part of the period cost. So we will simply put that 13,000 in the column. You may also be asked to find the totals, in which case you will just vertically sum down each of the columns. Just want to point out a couple of things over here. With the railage and carriage, it was just a single amount. If, however, it's worded slightly differently and it says it's a certain amount of money per every 50 units delivered, then that calculation will be slightly different. If you had to do these costs again in a different way, I'm just paying attention here to number 6. If we were to sort into fixed cost and variable cost, it would not then be necessary to sort into office and factory, because it would just simply be all fixed. The only reason that I had to break it up and say 500 and 300 is because some of it is a product cost and some is a period, whereas the whole amount is simply fixed. Right, so I think that is a good start to get you up and running with the classification of costs into product and period cost. Sorting into fixed and variable forms part of the question that I'm going to do for you on the break even. So for the moment, that concludes this recording. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye for now.